I will also keep an eye on the cameras. What if you raise money? I'm like, I don't know. Like, why would I need it? Like, I generate enough cash. But then we started talking about, first of all, having this freedom to do whatever you want earlier in your life.
Should we go?
Let's do it.
I don't know if you actually know this, but you and I had a conversation and just learned about your journey. And then I had another conversation with someone, and those were like the two aha moments of like, okay, this is something that's like really interesting. So the first conversation was actually with my brother, and he was telling me about a 21-year-old Duke dropout who he was basically trying to help secure angel investment for. And I was like, who is that kid? What does he do? And my brother was like, you know, I don't know what he's going to go on to do, but I want to be indexed to him. He's going to go on to do something amazing. And I was like, okay, that kind of fits the Lieberman model. And then you were basically, I think I asked you the question, you know, what does this capital enable? And you said it so simply. You were like, it allows me to be a little bit more risk on. And it was those two conversations that I was like, wow, this is like something really, really interesting. So I thought a good place to start was, you know, those two stories combined with the recent New Yorker article on the Liebermans. And we can also link to it in the show notes for people who haven't read it. But there was an excerpt in the article about you. And it said, a principle known as the Modigliani-Miller theorem says that in a perfect market, a company's value will be the same whether it finances its growth only by selling shares or by also taking on debt. By this logic, Mogilko would have gotten the same boost through a loan. Practically, in fact, she might come out ahead. Most debt financing costs less than venture capital. The Liebermans say that the difference is psychological and in where the money is coming from.
Absolutely.
Can you just expand upon that? Because I think that was the same insight that I had in talking to you.
Yeah, it's all about the psychology, right? Because like even venture capital, Silicon Valley would not exist if banks provided the same psychological feeling. Like I just take money and it's very risky, right? Investing in people is like the new thing. Even like with investment, like raising money outside Silicon Valley is a different mindset. Like some investors would knock on your door in a year saying like, where's your financial plan? Why are you not following your numbers? In Silicon Valley, it's just a completely different mindset. You know, we give you this money and you try a lot of things. Yes, you might fail, but if you fail, we fail. But if you succeed, we all succeed. And I really like this mindset. Like it doesn't feel like just I'm getting money. It feels like I'm getting partners in my business. As a creator, you're super lonely. And now you have people who are interested in your success. Yes, they're financially interested, but it feels like you're having a team kind of. And it's just a completely new feeling for me as a creator.
Can you talk a little bit about, you know, to the extent you had considered taking on debt to finance your growth?
Yeah, so the thing is, when Lieberman's brought up this topic, I was like, I generate enough cash for me to do whatever. Like, in my own scale, in my own mindset, I have enough cash to do whatever I want, like hire people, etc. But if I want to be bigger than myself, start investing in startups, explore working with people who are more expensive, professionals who are more expensive, then it's about like getting outside of your normal thinking. So yeah, this is what's different now.
So what are some ways in which you've kind of shifted your mindset in terms of, you know, having more at bats or taking bigger swings?
Definitely more investing.
Yeah.
Investing in startups, funds, like almost like every second startup that I meet, I think I'm like, wow, yes, let's try, let's do it.
Yeah.
I think it's amazing.
Super interesting. So I would love to have you share more too about, you know, how the investment came about and what those early conversations looked like.
I think the first conversation actually happened right here, like at this table with Liebermans.
With Liebermans.
Yeah, we just moved in here and they were like, oh yeah, it was actually some party a year ago. And they were like, what if you raise money? I'm like, I don't know. Like, why would I need it? Like, I generate enough cash. Like, what would I do with this money? But then we started talking about, first of all, having this freedom to do whatever you want earlier in your life. Because you know what they say, when you're a student, you have so much energy, but you don't have money. So you're looking for ways to like travel or whatever. And then you're older, you have all the money, but you don't have the energy to explore. And like with getting money, like with getting this investment, we're basically shifting everything to when I'm younger. And it works for my investments, because the earlier you have money, the more time you have for it to grow, etc. The more freedom you have when you're younger, the crazier ideas you're able to follow, right? Because we have like different level of security. When you're 32, which I am now, I'm like, let's do this and that. Let's travel there. Let's shoot this vlog. Let's explore this topic. Whatever. Let's start this company. I think when I'm 60, I'll be like, this is too risky. So we're kind of shifting the financial situation to when you're younger. Yeah, and it just
matching almost the means with the energy to go pursue that.
Exactly. And I think it's great.
Yeah.
I think it's just like even thinking about it, right? Like if we could give all the freedom to 17-year-olds, 20-year-olds with crazy ideas, like what they can do, it's just amazing.
Yeah, I mean, and Sam talks about this a lot, which is having this kind of psychological safety net to just take bigger swings versus having to pursue a career or a path that's more potentially financially safe, but definitely does not allow for the same creativity and freedom.
Exactly.
And to your point too, I think one of the interesting things I hear a lot from creators is, they have this, we call it like the moment in the sun, right? There's like a couple of years where they are having their moment, and it's the time to really pour gas in the fire and to have almost like a war chest to go do that and like really capitalize on the moment. Because I mean, as you know, being a creator, like some of these moments are fleeting. And whether it's, pouring capital to go experiment with shorts or other video forms or whatnot, a lot of the value comes from just being able to go pursue that when the moment is right versus having to do it only when you have the cash.
Yeah, I think I don't like thinking about creator career in this way, just because I've been doing this for 6 years. And I'm like, for me, it's just a career. It's like, it's not something, out of this world. It's just I love making videos. I like talking to people. Yes, formats change. Sometimes the growth is faster. Sometimes it slows down. But as long as I enjoy it, it's like being a teacher, right? Sometimes you teach at school. Sometimes you go to private school, whatever. Like it changes during your career. And I think it's the same for creators. And I know like some people, because most of my friends have been creators. Hello? I know, right? They were building, okay, whatever. But most of my friends have been creators for years. And it's all about adapting to new realities. It's not like, yes, some people become famous just because they started dancing on TikTok. And it might seem unsustainable, right? Because then you grow from 0 to 2 million in like 2 days. For me, this growth has been very consistent. So it feels like, this is my day-to-day. It's not so different from like being an engineer or a doctor or a teacher. It's you doing something that you love every day. There are bad days, there are good days, there's faster growth, promotion, whatever, and there's slower growth.
Yeah. I think that's what's going to contribute to your longevity. You're clearly doing something that you love.
Exactly, yeah. And then you think about it as a, not as something that happened just because it happened.
Right.
And you know why it happened. You know why it happened, right? Because I've been posting 3 videos a week for 6 years.
Right.
that's why.
Right.
Yeah.
And so going back to the genesis of the investment, what excited you the most about it? And then what were you skeptical of?
What excited me, I think, like being part of this new whole thing. This is why I'm in Silicon Valley. I love to try things. I love to try new things. I love to be like, because I believe in this, and ideally I would want to invest in other people later, but just going through this myself will give me more knowledge to explain what it feels like and how it works, etc. So I wanted to be inside the process when it comes to me to go and invest in people. So financial stability, having money earlier in my life to experiment with things. It's not like I'm skeptical, but I think it's just hard to like anticipate everything when you create a contract, right? It's just impossible. And like my concern, what if in 15 years the management changes and like what happens, right? Because it's easy to negotiate like with Sam, and he's part of this initial conversations and everything. What if in 15 years somebody comes to manage the company who's like, I don't know what you were talking about, this is how it works. So, and because we can't anticipate everything that's gonna happen in 15 years. I think this is something that's tricky, but if like the last call that we had,
I was going to say, I feel like we're going, we're
like,
finding all these corner cases and whatnot. If you get the fundamentals right and like the agreement is simple enough, then I think you can, figure out those corner cases as as you go on. But yeah, I mean, it's an entirely new kind of investment class.
For everyone.
Yeah, a totally new,
Lawyers,
totally,
yeah.
totally.
Yeah.
But I think having like real-time feedback from you going through it is super helpful, both for us and hopefully for you as well.
Yeah.
So would love to just get an overview of the business today. I mean, obviously we're familiar with it, but for those watching, can you just give an overview of kind of your different business lines on a relative basis? How big are they? And then where do you see the growth in each?
Yeah, this is actually one of the conversations, like seeing growth is something that I strategize on every month. Like, what is the niche that would allow me to grow the fastest? So there's Google AdSense revenue, which is very stable, but I really wanted to grow. Because when I meet all the financial creators and they show me how much they just paid in taxes, I'm like, wow, this is not even my revenue, what you pay in taxes. Like, this is amazing. So Google AdSense, my own courses, and brand deals are three main things that I make money on as a creator. I think the fastest growth can be in my own courses. So we're coming up with new courses for, the next course will be for marketing people who want to grow through short videos, help companies and people grow through short videos. And then,
and sorry, just to level set, who are your customers? Like, who's your audience base? Who's buying the courses? What's the profile of that person?
Depends on the course. But I have a course for people who want to start on YouTube. Yep. So they're beginner creators. I have a short videos course, which is, I think like I meet entrepreneurs who took my course and I meet kids who are just starting college who took my course, so it's very, very broad. But I think a lot of immigrants are watching my channel, a lot of females, at least the viewership demographic is 50-50, but when I see people in the course, a lot of females, especially with blogging. And then we have a course for people who want to manage YouTube channels professionally. And these are, again, all types of people. But mostly, I would say like the target audience will be 23 to 30.
Okay.
Like that demographic. But again, very international, all over the world, which is great. And so the new course will be for people who are interested in marketing and who want to monetize smaller and bigger blogs, whether it's a corporate blog or a personal blog.
Got it. Got it. And when you think about launching new products, right, and in this case, products are courses, are you getting feedback from your audience members or your community, or is it more you driving those decisions?
So first of all, it has to be interesting for me. So I come up with a general idea, but with this idea, we did like a small community post and we saw people's reaction. They're like, oh, but what if, the short videos are not converting? You're not getting paid for short videos. How can you monetize? And so we see their concerns and they're incorporated in the landing page and the product, so we can answer their fears with the product right away.
Right.
This is what so there is definitely some experiment. And I see that with a course, like the name of the course can be 90% of success. This is what we've seen. Like if you promise transformation with a name, then it's a game changer. If it's just a course, then be like, whatever.
I mean, this is where I think being a creator dovetails so nicely with being an entrepreneur or running a business. Like that A/B testing is no different from the A/B testing you're doing in a normal, regular way company.
Yeah, and I think Steve Jobs did it, and like a lot of executives at Amazon talk about this. When you come up with a product, think about the PR statement first.
Yeah.
Like, how are you going to present it to your audience? Like, wow, this is perfect. So I would just present my product in a vlog, and that would make me think, oh, okay, does this sound right? Does this sound appealing? And then we will start.
I think that was a Jeff Bezos thing.
Oh, Jeff Bezos.
Yeah,
okay.
It's like they did. I used to work very closely with the Jet.com team, and many of those folks worked at Amazon prior. And it's this thing called a PR FAQ, and they basically write the press release of a new product launch in the voice of the customer and what the actual product is. It's a great forcing mechanism to like whittle down what actually matters.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And because sometimes you're like come up with a product and then you start presenting it to people and you're like, oh, doesn't actually make sense.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. So last summer, I think it was, you sat down with Sam and talked with him.
Wow, it was last.
I think it was last summer. Or maybe. Yeah.
Okay.
So what, and I don't know if you remember that conversation or the details of it, but I guess looking back, a year ago, what's surprised you in terms of, where you are from a business perspective today, and how would you kind of grade yourself over the past 12 months?
From like my success standpoint, or?
Success, learnings, things that you were excited to pursue that maybe didn't pan out.
I think it's just, it's harder for me right now. I was just talking again to my husband today. He's like my therapist, business therapist. I like that he's also running a business, so we can discuss those things. But it's really hard for me to stay focused on one thing because my baby is 1 year old, another is 2 year old. So today the daycare is closed, which means I have to cancel everything for today and for tomorrow. And I'm just so jealous of people who have 8 hours a day so they can actually plan things out. For me, it's like, okay, these 2 days I canceled, but I still owe my brand. So we're doing brand deals with the company, so it means Wednesday is going to be cramped with videos. And ideally, I wanted to sit down and strategize and look at my financials. And it's just so hard for me right now to just get used to this reality that, like, I can't plan. I can have some plans in my head, but then my team has to adjust all the time. I have to adjust all the time. So I think for me, and we've been talking to Sam about me maybe dropping the amount of videos I'm producing, slowing down to focus on something bigger. And I'm still getting there. Like, I'm so angry at myself that this is me trying to pursue everything at the same time, trying to be there and there and there, and three channels, 2 TikToks, Instagram, Telegram channels, email, and like hiring people. I think, like the next month I want to focus on actually slowing down and being able to prioritize, because it's hard.
I mean, and I think this comes down to why taking investment at the creator level versus at a project level or company level is so important, because maybe the best use of funds is actually giving you more leverage on your time in a way that, like, you know, or putting money into YouTube or elsewhere, where I think when you raise money for a specific project or company, the funds have to go towards that. And you're in a unique position, and all creators are, where it's so intertwined with your life that, like, to have that flexibility to allocate capital as you see fit, I think is really important. And it's a question we get asked a lot.
This is one of the most amazing things. When I did some interviews about this, and when people are like, but do they control where the money is going? I was like, no, Sam told me if I want to buy a house, I can buy a house. They're like, seriously? Like, yeah, I just have to pay a lot of taxes if I do that. Yeah.
So one of the other things I kind of encounter when I talk to creators, I always ask the question, you know, what would you do with unlimited capital? Like, what's the dream? And I'm surprised how often, and it's changing, but I'm surprised how often the answer is like only like incremental change. Whereas I think what we love to hear from creators is people who dream really big. And what you're seeing now is that, and you kind of like see it in sports too, where like world records are always getting broken once the next person breaks it, is, you know, people don't have a lot of examples of creators going on to do big things beyond sponsorships, brand deals, kind of the natural merch, things like that. And so how do you think about like your 10-year plan, or kind of what success looks like? And then similarly, who do you look to for inspiration?
Yeah, definitely Gary Vaynerchuk. So when people ask me, who do you want to be in 5 years? I say Gary V, but female. Like somebody who inspires people to start new things. And I think there are different ways, like people don't like him for the hustle culture, etc. And I'm definitely not a person who can hustle. Like, it's impossible to hustle. So like coming from female/parent standpoint, but to actually succeeding and you know, trying new things. This is definitely the goal. And I think it's, again, with creators, like, because if you're a creator, you already found the thing that you love the most. And it's hard to see how you can transform. It could be a Netflix show, or it can be a book. But right now, I know I want to create content. That's like, this is it. And where it takes me, we'll see. Like, maybe it's the new form of videos, short videos, or something like that. So I totally see how, like, with founders, they would be like, oh, I will start this company with this game-changing idea. With creators, you already know it's going to be content. So it's just the matter of, like, tweaking your content. So it's hard to present this idea as being something transformational. Like, I'm going to create, I don't know, VR, 3D, I don't know. Like, because you already know what it's going to be. It's going to be content. It's just the matter of finding the right niche, or
and how you express it, use that content.
Exactly.
Can you tell us a little bit about LinguaTrip? Because this was, I think it's an interesting story, how you founded a company and then now you're in this kind of creator world.
Yeah, we founded it back in 2011 because I was so passionate about learning languages. And my husband was like, since you're so passionate, let's try and make a company out of it. And we sent our friend to study English abroad. And it was like, it was, the first client was, oh my God, so messy, especially sending her. We were back in Russia, and like in Russia, you can't really just send an international wire just like that. You need to go through all of the whole process. So we started a company, then we wanted to make it like an Expedia. So this is when we started raising money, and we were able to get accepted into 500 startups in 2015. But my plan B was to get accepted to an American university so I can do my MBA and then start growing a company from here. And I got accepted, and we got investment. So we chose to go the VC route versus the university
academic route. That's probably the right decision.
I think so. Yeah.
Against our academic institutions.
Yeah, but it's great when you don't have I think education is great when you're like, oh, I want to figure out what I'm going to do next.
We were just having this conversation.
But when you already know what you're going to do next, you just hop onto it and learn as you go. And so but like the whole content, I started filming it when I was taking my GMAT, writing my personal statements. And it started taking off slowly. And then we came to the US and I was like, let's document our life here. We got a police interceptor, like the retired police car off Craigslist, because it was the cheapest car that we could get. And we went to like some random place 2 hours drive from here, got this car, and I was driving this police interceptor here in Mountain View.
I did not know this part of the story.
That was so cool. And then when we had demo day at 500 Startups, the day before demo day, we came to the venue to realize that our stand was the last one at the venue, which means like everyone, all of the investors would be mingling with startups who were at the entrance. So my husband negotiated with the Computer History Museum that we're going to put our police interceptor right at the entrance, and it would say LinguaTrip, and it would have all the balloons, so that investors would be interested in finding out who these guys are driving the police interceptor.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, there was so many fun stories, and I wanted to document that.
Yeah.
So this is how I started being serious about YouTube.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, let's pursue this as well, because I was hanging out with my friend at Yosemite, and she was a full-time creator back then, and she was telling me how there are so many opportunities in the creator economy, and I decided to, focus on both. But then I had a kid, so I had to choose.
Yeah.
And so Dmitry is now running the company. Of course, I help with the product and do some stuff, but most of my 3-hour workday goes to content creation.
And what lessons do you think you brought from LinguaTrip to your now focus exclusively on being a creator?
Hiring right away. Like whatever you don't like doing. I think this is what creators struggle with, because they think, and it's true that as a creator, you want to control every single aspect of the process. But if you hate editing, and I hate editing, there are people who love it.
Yeah.
It's just that easy. If you don't like something, there are people who love doing this. So just find those people and just let them do their job.
Yeah. I think I mentioned this in my interview, or we talked about this in my interview with Josh Kaplan, which is the biggest problem or challenge for creators is how do you scale yourself? Mm-hmm. And his answer was, you hire really well. You have to focus on hiring and need to make it a priority, and training as well.
Training. And also, this is such a great question, like how do you scale yourself? Even writing the way you see content and find the right people who like your ideas. I don't know, it's interesting.
Yeah, it's definitely, I think it's a challenge and an opportunity.
Yeah.
Thinking back to your conversation with Sam last summer, we determined, how do you think the creator economy writ large has changed in the past year?
I think with some projects, especially crypto and tokens to be part of communities, a lot of them died, a lot of them became more serious.
We have our crypto expert behind the scenes here.
Yeah, you would. I don't know if it's off the right, but what happened to? So every creator is screwed.
Yeah.
That type of stuff happened.
Oh, is that what happened? Yeah.
So yeah, I think there were so many startups that people were super excited about.
Yeah.
That proved maybe it's too early for them now. So we still need the legislation. And maybe people got too excited about dropping NFTs as a creator without any value behind it. And it's a learning curve. It's fine. So I think, and also because I invested in several creator economy startups, I think they went from we're creating for creators to the point where they're creating for people who just want to do their art, whatever it is, without having a boss and making a living, solopreneurs.
Right.
So I think startups are realizing that creator market is still small. We don't have millions of creators who are making, but like 2 million creators who make over 100K.
Yeah,
I
there's
need to double check, but it's not like a huge market.
Yeah.
So the market, when you target solopreneurs and people who do one-on-one consulting, etc., like not necessarily people who just make most of their income from the platforms, it's a broader market, and I think a lot of startups are pivoting there. I saw some startups pivot from crypto to like being a regular, because some people are like, oh, we need crypto word because it's sexy, but then can you do this without crypto? Oh yes, you can. And once crypto winter started, they're like, oh, we actually can do this without crypto, let's forget we're actually doing crypto. So that type of stuff was happening, which again is, it's how we learn, how we navigate.
A point you mentioned, which I think is a good one, is that we're realizing there's a difference between a creator who's more or less like a everyday consumer, and so the products that they use as a solopreneur or individual creator look and feel more like consumer products versus SMB type products. Whereas I think there's then a cohort of creators that like have teams below them, have like, or mini enterprises really. And I think those products are actually somewhat different than, if you're a solo person, and they should, act
They should
and
reflect.
Yeah, totally. And I think that was an interesting distinction that we've learned in the past year, for sure. So 2 questions for you as we wrap up here.
I'm just checking the camera. So sometimes I'm staring at the cameras.
Yeah.
Me just checking.
Oh, we can edit anything out. So if you weren't a creator, what would you be doing?
Teaching.
Teaching. Well, you kind of are teaching, by the way.
I would run a company. I love I love creating products. I'm not too good at being like a founder who does 8 Zoom calls a day. Like I get bored so fast.
Yeah.
And I see people who actually enjoy managing other people. I don't really enjoy that. And I just realized, I was talking to someone, I haven't seen a single member of my team ever. They're all remote. And there's this girl who's been working for me for 2 years. I seen her once during a Zoom call when I interviewed her, and the rest just happens on Telegram.
Asynchronously. Amazing.
I don't know. Like, it just requires so much energy. I feel like I only have like 2 hours of energy per day.
Yeah.
And like texting back and forth gives me more structure and takes less. I don't know. So, and like my husband, I'm so happy he took over, because he does all the like, let's do a company-wide call, let's do a marketing call, let's do a customer research call, because I don't like it. I like coming up with products. I like masterminding the marketing campaign, but not actually managing people.
Yeah, he's like the president.
Yeah. I'm so happy.
It's good. You should outsource that. It's not your strength.
Yeah.
And then, what is one piece of advice for up and coming creators?
Consistency and experiments. If you see that one type of content, you've created 3 videos that are very similar, they're not performing, like switch directions completely. Create a short video. I think there is so much freedom with short videos, and it's crazy how they're taking off.
Yeah.
And we don't know whether it's going to last for 6 months or 12 months, but it's basically 2010 in long videos. This is what's happening with short videos. You can post mediocre content and it's going to be promoted by the algorithms.
With respect to short form, how do you think about TikTok versus YouTube Shorts?
So TikTok is this platform where you can become famous in 2 months, but then what happens next? You don't know. Like if you have to stay consistent with putting out viral videos. This is what TikTok is good about, making your videos viral. But they don't really care about your community. So if I have 2.6 million followers on TikTok. If I make a boring video, it's only going to get to 20,000 views.
Yeah.
And that's it. So it's they don't care about my subscribers, and which means I can't really plan any marketing campaigns. I can't really do brand deals because I can't promise the amount of views. With YouTube, it's different. They care about my community. So even if I make a purely promotional video, it will still get, like I have 800,000 subscribers there, but it will still get like 100,000 views minimum. So I can guarantee something to an advertiser. I think and I see more creators switching to shorts, especially monetization. It's 10x more. I think YouTube is this platform that really cares about creators, not just from the financial standpoint. It cares that you're actually creating goodwill with your community, which means that if you have more followers, it means more people are going to see your video. TikTok, you can take off a lot faster, but then you need to keep up with the viral content, which I'm not a type of person who's viral. There is something I like, and I want to do that.
I think the nature of the app the fan base feels promiscuous. Like you have no loyalty to one person and it's all about the For You page. It's just
Exactly. When you open TikTok, you barely see faces you saw before. You see new faces all the time.
And even if you do, you don't necessarily connect with them in the same way that you do on YouTube or even Instagram. Yeah.
Oh, Instagram is purely followers. Like organic growth happens once in 100 videos.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's just me. But it's hard. It's hard.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for doing this.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, you have this amazing setup. Hopefully I do it justice.
Everything worked.
I'm sure it did. I'm sure it did.
Your plug to Kevin to give us budget for nicer cameras.
I think I need these things and then, yeah,
You need
a
2 mics
DSLR.
and at least 2 cameras. Yeah.
Okay. Because basically I'm working off of this like little Logitech thing.
I'm going to give her a candy. Yeah. That always works. Yeah, let's